Success is often framed as a byproduct of specific thoughts, the idea that the ceiling of a person's achievement is determined by their own mental framework. Napoleon Hill popularized this in his work, arguing that an individual's persistent thoughts eventually manifest in their physical reality. Steve Jobs operated on a similar frequency, famously insisting that the world could be influenced and changed by anyone who realized they could poke it. Elon Musk applied this logic to industries with massive entry barriers, starting with the conviction that reusable rocketry was a solvable engineering problem rather than a financial impossibility. And Jeff Bezos built a global logistics network by prioritizing a long-term mental model over short-term quarterly gains. If these outcomes are the result of a specific mindset, we have to ask why so many people remain trapped in lives they want to change. If the path to success is purely mental, what is the specific thought that prevents the first step? Often, it's a deficit mindset. This is a psychological state where an individual's focus is entirely consumed by what they lack, leaving absolutely no room to identify what they might possess. We see this in a man sitting at a busy railway station. He survives by asking for coins, his internal narrative entirely defined by his own poverty. Because he believes he has nothing, his only survival strategy is to wait for the charity of others. This focus on lack creates a cycle of dependency. As long as he views himself solely as a recipient of help, he remains unable to see any path that doesn't involve someone else's permission to eat. One day, a well-dressed businessman stops on the platform. The man on the ground looks up, expecting a standard donation based on the obvious gap in their wealth. But the businessman disrupts the script. He asks, "Do you always just take? Have you ever given anything to anyone?" He explains his own rule of operation. He is a trader, not a donor. He only gives in exchange for value received. Without a trade, there is no transaction. He then boards his train, leaving the man behind with nothing but a question that challenges his entire identity. This interaction highlights a basic social mechanic. When an individual seeks a reward without offering value, they surrender all their leverage to the person holding the capital. For 2 days, the man doesn't ask for money. He spends the time inventorying his world, looking for a way to meet the requirement of exchange when he owns nothing but the clothes on his back. The solution is growing right next to the tracks, wildflowers that cost nothing to harvest, but possess an inherent aesthetic value to travelers. He decides to stop asking for pity and start facilitating a balanced trade. He plucks a handful of flowers. Now, when someone offers him a coin, he smiles and immediately exchanges it for a bloom. The response from the crowd changes immediately. Passengers who used to avoid eye contact now smile and thank him. Because he is providing a product, his daily income begins to rise. By introducing a small unit of value into the interaction, the man changes his standing on the platform. He has moved from a position of dependency to the role of a micro-entrepreneur. When the businessman returns, the man doesn't beg. He offers a flower in exchange for a bill. The businessman accepts the trade and tells him he has finally realized he's a businessman. This validation triggers a realization. He isn't being supported by pity, he is being paid for his inventory. He sees himself as a trader, and that new identity makes his current lifestyle at the station feel incongruent. That same day, he leaves the station. He doesn't have a fortune yet, but he has a repeatable model for generating value, and he sets out to scale it. 6 months later, the two men meet again on the same platform, now standing as equals. The former beggar describes how he used the profits from his flowers to buy better stock, then a stall, and eventually a commercial floral business. The primary catalyst was his decision to stop identifying as a victim of his circumstances. The world tends to respond to the identity you project. If you broadcast that you are small and helpless, your opportunities will be limited to what people are willing to give away for free. But when you focus on what you can contribute, you change the nature of your interactions. Internal perception dictates the starting point for external change. When you see yourself as a source of value, your future begins to reflect that reality.